Okay. Good morning. Oh, yeah. It is the last day of April, and it's probably going to rain, but I'm going out and doing a few things today, so yeah. Ah, I have plans. I have a schedule. This is good. It's an important thing when you have autism and PTSD to have a schedule, to have a plan in mind, and to stick to the plan. It makes life so much easier, especially when life lets you stick to the plan. Yeah, absolutely. So, question is, should I shave out the sideburns? I mean, is it getting to be about that time? It's warm now, it's no longer freezing, so I don't need to protect my face from frostbite. So is it time to shave out the sides? Let me know. Love to hear your opinion on the matter. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, it's still kind of chilly. Weather is just a little on the crappy side still. We're getting the rain that we needed, and we're getting the rain that we needed. Yeah. Yeah. It's all very much a three-ring circus. And it's a three-ring circus that begins with global climate change and the way that the climate patterns are being thrown out, scrambled, as it were, by CO2 emissions, methane emissions, and the presence of enormous heat blocks called cities, which are unrelieved and really built not around people and commerce, but around automobiles. And these things have led to a really bad shift in the way the climate works. Very harmful, very detrimental, and counterproductive. And, well, that's just the way things are, except it doesn't have to be. We can, if we choose, opt for a not car-centered life. We can opt for public transit, and we can pressure governments into allowing public transit. We can, many of us, choose bicycles over private vehicles for short personal jaunts, and we can limit automobile usage. And you'll notice that this is not abolishing cars. This is cutting back on cars. This is applying common sense to a problem. We can become less car-centered without completely eliminating the automobile from the world. We can make cities less toxic without necessarily abolishing cities and everybody moving into a grass hut. We can do that. We can still have high-rise apartment complexes. But we need to get rid of the asphalt that surrounds them and replace it with a cobbled pavement of natural stone interspersed with trees, and not tiny decorative shrub trees, but real trees, big trees. We need to allow these trees to grow and mature and cut them down only when they've gotten to be 150 to 200 years old, and replace them immediately with a tree that's a good 20 years old and big enough, tall enough, and strong enough that it can actually be a tree. And we need to do this a lot. Playgrounds need to have trees, and we do need playgrounds, and we need to let them have grass, not wood chips and sawdust. And we need to abolish the lawn. The lawn is a problem. It is the largest crop in North America, and it is the least productive and least beneficial crop, a crop which consumes a sizable proportion of the toxic chemicals that we produce in the form of fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, etc., all geared towards the preservation of the almighty lawn. That's the only thing we really need to abolish, is the lawn. What is the lawn, anyway? It's a statement of ego. It's a way of saying, look at me, I'm rich and powerful too. Well, you're not rich and powerful. And you need to get rid of that pathetic, egocentric display of manicured golf course grass. The lawn, and honestly, golf. Get rid of golf, because golf has outlived its usefulness to human civilization. You can grow a lot of food on a country club. If these people want to be athletic, let them be athletic. Not just swinging a stick at a little white ball and puttering around in a little car, in a little electric car. That's not athleticism. That's a joke. That's Donald Trump athleticism, which is basically you're fat, you're waddly, you shit yourself, and you're bragging about how athletic you are because you're unable to wear a girdle anymore. Get rid of golf, please. For the love of all the gods, get rid of golf and get rid of the lawn. These are the only things we need to really get rid of. Every other problematic thing is simply a matter of scaling it back to reasonable levels. You don't need a gas-guzzling SUV to go to the corner store. You can walk, you can take a bicycle. People who live in cities need to use public transit. Cities need to provide public transit. It needs to be reliable public transit. We need to have public transit between cities. And it too has to be reliable, functional, and allow people to travel effectively. And we do need train station style hotels, the way we used to have before the automobile took over and turned us into a car-centric society. This means taking certain things back to the way they were, yes, in the 1920s, before the automobile became king. We had a wonderful public transit system. We had a railway network. We had buses, city buses and county buses everywhere. We had these things, and they were gotten rid of because we wanted the automobile and because city planners were paid off by automobile manufacturers to emphasize the automobile. It wasn't just that cars were handy and convenient. It's that car manufacturers banded together and bought out all the public transit that they could and scrapped it. They ripped out the trolley lines inside the cities. They ripped out the intercity train lines, and they've been blocking access to public transit for decades. Creating a car-centric society, creating a truck-centric society for our transportation needs has left us with really wide asphalt highways, which have become a hazard, and it has left us with pollution on a grand and spectacular scale. It has also left us with automotive fatalities on a spectacular level that, quite honestly, the only way to describe it is horrifying. And adding safety features has reduced the carnage, but it's still problematic. It's time to scale it back. It's time to encourage bicycles. It's time to close down suburbia. The giant manicured lawn around a giant McMansion is something we need to get rid of, as is the giant McMansion itself. Houses built to last 30 years and be torn down, we get rid of it. The practice of house flipping, where people buy up houses for the sole purpose of selling them, of driving up their value so that they can sell them for a profit. This has to stop. The practice of allowing foreign investors to treat our houses as an investment rather than treating our houses as a place to live has to stop. And yes, there are people for whom a private car is a necessity. A private motor vehicle is a necessity. Farmers need motor vehicles. Yes, absolutely. The farm truck is a necessity. That doesn't mean that everybody in suburbia needs a jacked up version of the farm truck with dual smokestacks and a paint job, and a fancy paint job, and a working box that is just too damn short to be practical. You don't need your own monster truck to go to the beach, okay? You don't. You don't. What you need is to get onto public transit, and what you need is to pressure politicians to bring back the public transit that existed. They ripped out the railways. They did. They ripped out the railways. They need to put the railways back. This is a huge make-work project. Railways need maintenance. You're going to have a team of dedicated railway maintenance workers constantly employed. You're going to have multiple teams of them, actually. And those multiple teams are going to have jobs in a field that is useful. You're still going to need mechanics. You're still going to need auto mechanics because all those farm trucks and delivery trucks, they're still going to need fixed. Taxi cabs are still going to need fixed. But getting rid of the idea that everybody needs 2 cars in their 2-car garage, let's get rid of that. We don't need that. We need working public transit that does its job and does it well. And we had that. We had public people who took the train to work, who took the bus to work, who took the trolley to work. We had that. And we can bring it back. We can bring it back. We can cut back on coal-fired electrical power plants and make greater use of our hydroelectric resources and of our wind-generated electricity. We can get rid of the idea that modern high-rise housing has to be bare, stark, and ugly. Get rid of the postmodernism, get rid of brutalism, get rid of these hideous buildings the way they are, and change them into something that is actually beautiful and somewhat more organic. And yes, make more public housing. Municipally owned housing that is not for profit, but in which the people pay rent as a way of contributing to the upkeep and maintenance costs. Someplace where rent is realistic, because quite honestly, we're not going to be a nation of suburbanite homeowners. We're going to be a bunch of renters living in high-rises. And yes, the suburbs were a beautiful idea. They were wildly impractical then. They're suicidal today. We need to scrap that. Suburbs need to now have their own schools. They need to increase density. They need to be built not around the automobile, but around the family unit. the long-term family unit. And that family unit has to be the focus, not the automobile, but the family. Public transit that is there to serve the family. We need to bring that back. Public transit that exists for the family. Get kids out on bicycles. Because right now, modern suburbs are being built with 6-lane streets, with speed limits that are equivalent to what goes on highways, on intercity highways right now. It's crazy. It's dangerous. And it's become way too car-centered, to the point where children have never seen or stepped on grass because they're taken everywhere in an SUV. They go everywhere in an SUV. Their helicopter parents, dare I say, bubble wrap them and take them everywhere in an SUV. They don't go out and play. Get children out playing. Get them socializing. Put them on bicycles. And yes, take away their cell phones. They don't need them. You don't need a cell phone from the day you're old enough to sit up. You don't need a cell phone. You start to need one around probably the age of 12 or 14. You'll start to need a cell phone. But honestly, before then, go out and play. Run, jump, splash in the stream, climb trees, fall out of trees. Fall out of trees above a stream so you can fall into the stream. Roll in the mud. Have some fun. This is healthy. This is necessary. This is the key to rebuilding a sane, healthy society. And we need to do that. We need to rebuild a sane and healthy society. Yes, it is a school day. Hooray! Yeah, absolutely. We need to build a society that, while modern, nevertheless also takes lessons from the past. And quite honestly, we need to get rid of celebrity worship as well. Please, get rid of celebrity worship, because celebrity worship is just too stupid for words. They're people, they're human beings. Quit treating them like gods. Thank you. That wasn't too bad, was it? Yeah, well. Anywho, please comment below, hit like, hit subscribe. Feel free to deposit any love letters, hate mail, newfie jokes. Yeah. Social political commentary. And requests that I should have a pizza delivered to you. Absolutely. Oh. And if you happen to be trans, keep up the good work. Be who you are. Yeah. Today I'm on Trans Support Day. Yeah. I'm not the best possible ally, but I'm doing my best, really, honestly. I'm just really terrible at it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yes, absolutely. Be who you are. Enjoy your life. Harming nobody. And living within your means. Thank you. Death to Rome.